Hello everyone, the name is Daporotimi. I'm the CEO of El Salak Kennels. And what we do here is we breed pedigree Rottweilers. That's the breed that we specialize in, just pedigree Rottweilers. Most of our dogs are of German and Eastern European bloodlines. We started 20 years ago. We kept dogs then. But as of that time, we were doing 3 different breeds: the Rottweiler, Great Danes, and Pit Bulls. But it wasn't until 15 years ago, in 2009 to be precise, that a mentor of mine advised that it's always best to specialize in one particular breed, the breed of one's choice, rather than doing multiple breeds. To specialize in one and be a master at that one. So I would say essentially that in 2009, 15 years ago precisely, that was when we started to be serious about breeding strictly pedigree Rottweilers. First of all, as the proverbial saying goes, that Rome was not built in a day. So this journey of 15 years, it's been full of challenges, ups and downs. But I would say that one thing that is very, very important to keep on going if one wants to be a serious breeder, not just particular about the Rottweiler, to be a breeder period, is that one must have, first of all, have a passion for the breed. Another challenge, of course, is the fluctuating exchange rate, because a kennel like ours, for example, all of what they eat is imported. It's imported food. So what we would normally spend a particular amount on maybe 2-3 years ago, because of the devaluation of the Naira, now we find ourselves spending ×4. Of what we used to spend maybe 2-3 years ago. So that's another challenge. Let me not focus only on the challenges. The good part is, number one, as I said earlier, the passion for the Rottweiler. I've had it for a number of years. So it's always a joy seeing how the kennel has expanded. When we started in 2009, we started with just 3 dogs. We imported in 2 males and a female from Bosnia, to be precise, at that time. But it's interesting to see how the kennel has expanded, running with the vision that we had then to expand the kennel. So the journey has been quite good. I wouldn't say totally unpleasant, but definitely full of challenges, which by God's grace we've been able to overcome. Okay, well, in terms of the business, yes, it is self-funded. But as I always say, at the initial stage, especially when one is starting, there'll be that necessity to pool funds from other sources and inject those funds in the business. But it gets to a stage, particularly when you're running a kennel of our size, it gets to a level where the proceeds generated from within the kennel will be sufficient enough to, cater for the financial aspect of running the kennel. So by God's help and grace, that's where we are now. So we don't have to pull funds from other sources. It's what we generate from within the kennel that that is sufficient enough to keep the kennel running. Now, your second question in terms of the worth, well, it's really it's a bit difficult to answer that precisely because okay, let me give you an example. At times, when one does a breeding, one can breed about maybe 5 females, and then there's a particular projected cost that we expect to sell each puppy. But because of how this thing, it can sway the way. Out of 5 females, at times, one will be lucky if 2 actually eventually conceive and give birth. So it's really difficult to 100% make projections in terms of overall expected income or revenue based on the simple fact that you never know when whether or not a particular female bred will actually eventually give birth to puppies. But to give an idea, now it depends on the standard of the puppies that one buys. But the range of a pedigree Rottweiler puppy as at now, particularly if such puppies are of good pedigree, and also if such puppies are registered with the recognized canine organizations in the country. So the selling range can vary between 350,000 and believe it or not, it can go as high as $1 million. Some of my contemporaries sell as high as ₦1 million for a puppy. So factors that affect pricing depends, like I said, first of all, the quality of the bloodlines that such puppy is coming from, and also whether such puppies are registered, and of course the brand name of the breeder. We all know that Volkswagen will still get you from A to B, but it's not the same price as a Rolls-Royce. Different, the brand, the strength of the brand. So it is also when it comes to breeding dogs. Well, our target audience or our prospective buying audience are, people that just want good pets in the home, and also fellow breeders, fellow breeders that want to, that want to add to their existing breeding stock. And also another target audience that we have, that we sell our dogs to, are people who also want to go into breeding. People that want something very, very top quality to begin with as their foundation breeding stock. So those are also people that contact us time after time and buy from us. How do we target them? Through social media, Instagram, WhatsApp. And I also belong to several breeding clubs, organizations, both online and physically. So that also helps in networking prospective buyers for our puppies. Let me form the foundation. When we talk about when you refer to a dog as a pedigree dog, there are a number of factors that come to play to qualify a particular dog as a pedigree dog. Number one, for every breed, there is what is known as a breed standard. Okay, the Rottweiler has a breed standard. In other words, there are certain characteristics and certain traits that any dog called the Rottweiler must have to qualify as a Rottweiler. Now, when we now come to pedigree, it simply means that you are able to document the lineage, the parental lineage of such dog to at least 3 generations back. So in order for a dog to be to qualify as a pedigree dog, then the ancestry from both sides, the father, the mother, ought to have been well documented back at least 3 generations. Now, these are the other breeds that, that people refer to as non-pedigrees or crossbred dogs and so on and so forth. Personally, I'm not an advocate for crossbreeding because every breed, there's an intention and there is a particular quality behind every breed. Now, when you crossbreed, you can't really call the offspring a particular breed. For example, if you crossbreed a Rottweiler with a German Shepherd, you can't call the offsprings either a German Shepherd or a Rottweiler. So I'm an advocate of purebred dogs. That is, keep whatever breeding within the breed. In other words, breed a Rottweiler male to a Rottweiler female. Now, within the breed itself, there are other dogs that are known as non-peds or non-pedigree dogs. They may not necessarily not be a Rottweiler, but it's just that such dogs, there's no documented lineage. Nobody knows who the grandfather is on both the father's side and the mother's side. So when you come across such dogs that are non-pedigree dogs, the only way to attest as to their purity is if a DNA profiling can be done. And that DNA profiling will now be able to confirm whether truly such dog is a Rottweiler or not a Rottweiler. So that's the difference. Now, what advice will I give anyone that wants to go into breeding? Number one, a number of advices. Number one, have a vision, have a goal. Number two is to have a passion. A lot of people go into breeding maybe because they heard rumors that there's money to be made in breeding and so on and so forth. And such ones may not necessarily have a genuine passion for the dogs. Because the truth of the matter is, going into breeding, time after time, your passion will be tested. Your passion will be tested. And there's several ways by which your passion will be tested. Number one, will you call it quits after doing 3 breedings, and at the end of the day, none of the breedings, is successful? Number two, if the dogs, if you have just minimal funds with you, are you willing to sacrifice spending a large chunk on that just to ensure that the dogs are well taken care of, and so on and so forth? And lastly, what advice will I give somebody that wants to go into it? Be a person of integrity. Very, very important. Can people trust you? Can people trust your word? Can people trust you when you say this particular dog, this is the pedigree behind it, that's the father, that's the mother? Can people trust you when people entrust funds, not meeting you physically? Can you be trusted, by people sending you their hard-earned funds? So these are, in a nutshell, these are a few advices that I would give anyone that endeavors to go into breeding. Once again, my name is Mr. Dapo Rotimi. I'm the CEO of El Salak Kennels, and we breed pedigree Rottweilers.